once more with feeling, hey yo. It would have been hard to start this list with anything but a Scott Hall impression. Despite spending his career running alongside stars like Hulk Hogan, Randy Savage, and Shawn Michaels, Scott Hall became one of wrestling's most memorable and quotable characters. Razor Ramon was a pretty spot-on gimmick and was a major part of a pretty damn successful career. Scott Hall has left us now, and if you're a newer fan that isn't as familiar with Scott Hall's work, consider this your must-see list for Scott's career. Some will be moments in time, some will be matches that best represent just how special of a performer he was. Say hello to the bad guy. I'm Tempest hailing from partsFUNknown, and these are the 10 best Scott Hall moments and matches. It feels a bit weird to ask everyone to subscribe during a video like this, so instead I'm just gonna ask that everyone comment their favorite Scott Hall moments and matches during his illustrious career. We'll miss you, Scott. Number 10, the Wrestle Rock Rumble. Just look at that man. The Wrestle Rock Rumble is a tremendous piece of history, one of the most wonderfully awful pieces of 80s wrestling that we as a society must treasure. To promote the Wrestle Rock event in 1986, the AWA organized a music video of wrestlers talking about doing the Wrestle Rock Rumble, and it's terrible. It's terrible, and I love it. It never stops going. It features the vocal stylings of Shawn Michaels, Nick Bockwinkel, and the original Sheik, and it has Larry Zbyszko absolutely laying it down. One of the best of the bunch was this shot. Seemingly straight out of a 70s porno, Speedo-clad Scott emerges from the pool standing next to Curt Hennig. Again, it's a wonder Vince McMahon didn't wake up in a cold sweat over the thought of just signing Scott Hall right then and there. It would be some time before Scott would surface in the WWE, but man, cool Curt Hennig and big Scott Hall. Damn right. Number 9, Razor Ramon vs. Bret Hart. Royal Rumble 1993. Scott Hall never became world champion in WWE or WCW, but that doesn't mean he didn't get close. Razor Ramon made his WWF debut in mid-1992, and by January 93, he had risen to world title contention just in time for the Royal Rumble. Razor hadn't hit the levels of popularity that he would later in his career, but this is a world title pay-per-view match with Bret Hart. That's a pretty exceptional foundation for your night, and for Scott Hall, they had a very fun performance. Razor didn't get the W on this night, falling to Bret's sharpshooter, but even in defeat, the bad guy put on one of his best pay-per-view outings. Eddie Kingston has said that when the WWE Network launched, the first match he searched for was this one right here. He has excellent taste. Are you gonna argue with Eddie Kingston? I'm not gonna argue with Eddie Kingston. Number 8, The Kid vs. Razor Ramon. Raw, May 17th, 1993. In the grand scheme of things, this bonkers Cirque du Soleil-esque finish and match as a whole probably shouldn't be as memorable as it is, considering it is pretty by-the-book stuff, but damn it, this remains one of the best upsets in WWE history. During Raw's potty training years, matches between two big stars were often saved for larger events. Thus, there were plenty of squash matches, and on May 17th, 1993, there was no reason to believe this wouldn't be one of them. Instead, Razor Ramon was beaten by the simply named The Kid, Sean Waltman's precursor to the 1-2-3 Kid, with a moonsault. The Raw audience came unglued, and Razor Ramon sold this loss to one of his best friends perfectly. It's a really cool moment, and it completely made Waltman's career. Number 7, Shawn Michaels and Diesel vs. Razor Ramon and the 1-2-3 Kid, WWF Action Zone, September 28th, 1994. There weren't a ton of blowaway classic tag team matches in the mid-90s WWF, which is why this match from just the second episode of WWF Action Zone is remembered so fondly. For a long time, it was difficult to even find this match, but thankfully, we live in a generation where you can find even the most obscure match by tapping a supercomputer you keep in your pocket. I welcome our Google overlords. Cards were typically pretty drab in 1994, but real-life best friends Shawn Michaels, Diesel, Razor Ramon, and the 1-2-3 Kid decided they were going to tear the house down on this night. You can tell there's a special bond in this match, with the four men being such good friends and wanting to prove that they should be the ones pushed to the top of WWE. A performance like this is a hell of a cover letter. Number 6, Shawn Michaels vs. Razor Ramon, SummerSlam 1995. The fact that this ladder match comes in at number 6 on this list speaks to how just incredible Scott Hall's career has been, because boy is this match great, and boy do we still have some heat left to go. The Razor Ramon vs. Shawn Michaels ladder match from WrestleMania 10 was lauded for its innovation, and like all great performances, it demanded a sequel. Over a year later at SummerSlam, Shawn Michaels and Razor Ramon hung the Intercontinental Championship high above the ring once again, and attempted to top their WrestleMania Classic in another ladder match. And they came really darn close. Depending who you talk to, others might say this match is superior to its predecessor, and fair play to that. This match is off the rails fun, and even if Shawn Michaels couldn't quite get the belt down in one try, this built on their first match and provided one of the best WWE matches of the decade. Number 5. The curtain call. One of the biggest and most influential moments of Scott Hall's career, and it wasn't even televised. At least at the time. This moment has been shown to death on Raw thanks to that one fan's camcorder footage with him doing his best Joey Styles impression. Did you know Scott Hall and the Clique had that fan fake arrested in 2015 for recording the event? I mean, he might be a bad guy, but he doesn't record shows with a camcorder. That would be irredeemable. Scott Hall and Kevin Nash had signed letters of intent to go to WCW, and their final WWF appearance was slated for a sold-out Madison Square Garden house show. It's been told to death. These friends were sworn to the powers of good, these friends were sworn to the powers of evil, they all did battle, and then as if part of the sweatiest Broadway musical ever, they all hugged and took a bow. A curtain call, if you will. Not seen as a positive move at the time, but if you're counting down a list of the most influential moments of Scott Hall's career, this has to be near the top. A house show main event. This has become such a thing, and it all stems from a house show main event. Wild. Number 4. And the third man is... Sometime after Scott Hall and Kevin Nash jumped the proverbial ship to the SS Wrestling, the undercurrent of the NWO's formation was bubbling to the surface. At Bash of the Beach 1996, Hulk Hogan was revealed as the third man, and while this would certainly be viewed as more of a Hulk Hogan moment than a Scott Hall moment, none of this happens if Scott Hall isn't standing right there. Show me the last time you formed one of the most revolutionary stables in wrestling history. Me? Oh, it was last May for me. Bash of the Beach remains one of the most legendary events in wrestling lore because these three dudes coming together was the start of the rest of WCW. Randy Savage, Sting, and Lex Luger versus Kevin Nash, Scott Hall, and TBA sounds like a pretty standard WCW pay-per-view main event on paper, but in actuality, this is on the short list of the most important moments in wrestling history and the biggest moment in WCW's extraordinarily bizarre history. Number 3. The WWE Hall of Fame. For a long time, it didn't seem like a WWE Hall of Fame induction was going to happen for Scott Hall. But that was before DDP helped turn Scott's life around. This ain't your mama's yoga. The WWE Hall of Fame is loosely classified as a Hall of Fame by many and really serves as more of a gala for people Vince McMahon feels like honoring on that day, but in this case, the Hall of Fame meant a great deal. For once, Scott Hall was able to be recognized for his contributions to the wrestling business and do so looking better than he had in over a decade. The moment would be so special without a speech attached to it at all, but it helps that this was one of the best Hall of Fame speeches to date, with Scott's iconic line, "Hard work pays off, dreams come true. Bad times don't last, but bad guys do." Hell yeah, bad guy. Hell yeah. Number 2, Shawn Michaels vs. Razor Ramon, WrestleMania 10. It is hard not to put one of the most revolutionary matches of all time as the highest ranking clash on this list. While it isn't the first ladder match in WWE history as WWE would lead you to believe, it is the first one shown on a big stage, and as far as big stages go, you don't get much bigger than WrestleMania 10. Once again competing with real-life chum HB Shizzle, the two put on a legitimate 5-star classic, showcasing spots wrestling fans in 1994 hadn't even conceived of. It may not have aged as gracefully as other matches of its kind, but pretty much all ladder matches had this match to look to as the genesis of the stipulation. Shawn Michaels may have gotten a bigger share of the credit for this match as he was the one insisting on leaping from the tall things, but Razor Ramon was as good a dancing partner as HBK could ask for at the time and more than held up his own end of the bargain. Even more importantly to consider is that Razor Ramon was the one standing atop the ladder with the Intercontinental Championship in hand at the end of this acclaimed match. Winning isn't everything, but standing tall at WrestleMania is a pretty big deal. And number 1, you know who I am. Oh look, there's the Jeff Hardy debut. There's Swerve, and Keith Lee, and Mercedes Martinez. My word, so many debuts. All these people from the other channel. Yeah, we sure do live in a different era than when Scott Hall walked through the crowd on WCW Nitro. Now there always seem to be big debuts in the various wrestling promotions, but back in 1996, a WWF star sauntering onto WCW was much more uncommon. This wasn't the big pomp and circumstance entrance promoting the new signing. This was the start of a hostile takeover. A hostile takeover that would last years and change the industry. Things were different then, and this marked the start of an era of wrestling with characters that blurred the lines of reality. Razor Ramon walked on the other show and told people, "You know who I am, but you don't know why I'm here." And boy did the fans ever want to find out why he was there. As the Monday Night War and Attitude Era started to take shape, fans were treated to one of the generation's most defining moments. This wasn't a Hulk Hogan moment. This wasn't an Outsiders moment. This wasn't an NWO moment. This was a Scott Hall moment. And in this moment, Scott Hall changed the business. And that's our list. Once again, we would like to extend our deepest sympathies to the friends, fans, and family of Scott Hall. Scott Hall is never going to be forgotten in the wrestling business, and he has left an incredible legacy. Make sure you give this video a thumbs up if you enjoyed it and share it around with your friends, and let us know if you'd like to see any other wrestlers' careers covered in similar lists like this, covering their best matches and moments. Until then, I've been Tempest, reminding you all to stay beautiful.